Good afternoon and welcome to the August 11, 2023 meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. I want to thank Fran and Ed O'Shaughnessy for greeting today. Eric Marcus and Beth Handworker for handling the tickets. Pete Bales, Mark Weinstein, and Mike Swick for the great programs. Jim Gundle for handling the website. And I would ask Jenny Jarvie to come up to offer an invitation. All right.
Well, good afternoon. Would you please join me in prayer? Oh, Holy Creator, for friends, good, fun, and fellowship, especially the fellowship of Rotary, as we give our sincere thanks. May these tokens of your bounty nourish our physical bodies in preparation for the challenges that are ours in Rotary. Keep us always mindful of the needs of others and keep us always attuned to our calling in Rotary. We ask these in your eternal name. Amen.
Thank you, Dan. All right, Secretary's report, Joe Jenkins.
All right, so we're at 55% today. We have numerous guests. Ray, you want to introduce your guest first?
Thanks, I just took my phone. My two daughters, Miranda and Eva.
Shannon.
Brianna's with me here today. We were up looking at some flooring this morning. She's a great apprentice. Love having her around. If you haven't said hi to Brianna, make sure you stop by. Say hi.
Hi, Brianna.
Nana, Mr. Hayes is here today.
Just making that announcement to his wife.
Yeah. And then Ryan, no guest.
Yeah, Green County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Sean Kessel. He's our supervisor for the Beavercreek Township Substation.
And then I have two guests. I have my little one, and then I have my. Hi.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, little Joe's in, he's a problem causer, so we're just keeping a tight eye. We've got extra law enforcement in the room, so. Don Adams. Come on down.
You might be disappointed. I don't know what's happening in Greene County, but all the law enforcement that I know of is here. So, if anybody's listening, it might be a good time to do something. Today is August 11th, 223rd day of the year. It's amazing that we're in the middle of August already. It's 142 days left till we start all over again. Today we celebrate National Hip Hop Day. So we're gonna have a little music here in a minute, and everybody's gonna be up this hip hop. Okay. It's Kool-Aid Day. It's National Raspberry Palm Day. National Raspberry Tart Day. I noticed we didn't have any of those out there on the menu. Play in the Sand Day, so if you're going to play golf, might be a good day to do that. Presidential Joke Day. I won't touch that one. Shop online for groceries day and son and daughter day. This week we also celebrate International Tree Climbing Week. National Fraud Awareness Week. And we have two people that talk about fraud all the time back there at the table. National Motorcycle Week. And I can't believe that this is only 1 week, but it says National Stop on Red Week. So, and Weird Contest Week. In the club this week, we had just a couple of things. Mike Canada's wife had a birthday. Megan had a birthday on August 10th. And we have a wedding anniversary. Stephanie Cronin and her husband, 28 years. On this day in history, the U.S. first successful silver mine was established in Virginia City, Nevada. And for those of us that grew up in the sixties, the world's first roller rink was opened in Newport, Rhode Island in 1866. And for those of you that like to water your grass, Harry Marmley patented the sprinkler head in 1874. In 1929, Babe Ruth connected with the Cleveland Indians pitcher, and the Sultan of SWAT scored his 500th home run. He went on to hit another 214 of those before he retired. And I didn't realize it'd been this long, but in 1971, the construction of the Louisiana Superdome began. For those of you movie buffs, 1973, American Graffiti cruised into the theaters. That was kind of a risque show back then. Also in 1999, there was a total eclipse in India, north of France, for 2 minutes and 23 seconds. And for those of you that don't know, April 8th of next year, we will have a total eclipse right here. We're right in the middle of the path for the eclipse. So I know I've been working with that with NAHA for a while, because we had a big deal to go with that. Armstrong Museum and all that. So I was trying to come up with some things to talk about today. It's getting more and more difficult, so if anybody's interested in standing up here and holding this mic going forward, you're welcome to. But someone sent me some puns, so I thought I would share those today. It says, how can an attorney sleep? First he lies on his one side, and he lies on the other side. I really hated to tell that with all the attorneys. I had a few jokes about unemployed people, but none of them worked. So. Will glass coffins be a success? Remains to be seen. Some of these you may have to think about. What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo? One's really heavy, the other's a little lighter. I wanted to buy some camouflage trousers yesterday, but I couldn't find any. Is it ignorance or apathy that's destroying the world today? Don't know, don't really care. I saw an ad for burial plots and I thought, that's the last thing I need. And sleeping comes naturally to me. I can do it with my eyes closed. And this is saving grace for a lot of people. I don't know if there's any of you in here or not, but you're not completely useless. You can always be used as a bad example. And don't spell part backwards. It's a trap. You have to write that one down. And a mathematician who thought the idea of zero, or brought to the idea of zero, thanks for nothing. In deference to our speaker today, I came up with a few little side jokes here that might fit law enforcement. The perfect crime was committed last night. Someone broke into the police station, stole all the toilets. Police said they had nothing to go on. Cop stopped the driver and said, "Do you have any idea how fast you were going?" The driver says, "No, isn't that your job to tell me?" There was an officer came across a man who was clearly under the influence. He said to the man, "We're going to have to give you a drug test." Without hesitation, the man replies, "Cool, which drugs are we testing?" I asked a rookie what he'd do if he had to arrest his mother. He was smart, so I'll call for backup. Deputy came up to me with a canine drug dog and said, "This dog tells me you're on drugs." And I said, "I'm on drugs. You're the one talking to the dog." Then there was a juggler who was driving to his next performance and got stopped by the police. And the police officer asked him, "What are these matches of lighter fluid doing in your car?" He says, "I'm a juggler and I juggle flaming torches in my act." "Oh yeah, let's see you do it." The juggler gets out, starts juggling the blazing torches masterfully. A couple driving by slowly, they slow down to watch. And wow, says the driver to his wife, "I'm glad I quit drinking." We're gonna test Steve. Now, there was a football coach who asked his secret for evaluating raw recruits. Well, he said, "I take them out in the woods and make them run. The ones that go around the trees, I make them running backs. The ones that run into trees, I turn them into linemen." And this one, a lot of us in here can probably relate to, some of you can't, but you will get there. 60 is the worst age to be, said one 60-year-old. You always feel like you have to pee. And most of the time you stand at the toilet and nothing comes out. "Oh, that's nothing," said the 70-year-old. When you're 70, you can't even crap anymore. You take laxative and you sit and all day, nothing. Actually, the 80-year-old said 80 is the worst year of it all. "Well, do you have trouble peeing too?" He said, "No, not really. I do it every morning at 6 o'clock." Said, "Do you have trouble doing the other thing?" He said, "No, I do that every morning at 6:30. "Well, what's the problem with that then?" "I don't get up till 7. And there was a man that came home one night drinking with the boys, and he fell through the door of his house. His wife snapped at him, "What's the big idea of coming home half drunk?" He said, "I ran out of money." Then there was a priest that was being honored at his retirement dinner after 35 years in the parish. A leading local figure and member of the congregation was chosen to make a presentation and to give a little speech at the dinner. However, he was delayed, and so the priest decided to say his own few words while they waited. Thank goodness we Catholics have a wonderful sense of humor. I got my first impression of this parish from the first confession I ever heard. I thought I'd been assigned to a terrible place. The very first person who entered my confessional told me he had stolen a television set, and when questioned by the police, was able to lie his way out of it. He had stolen money from his parents, embezzled from his employer, had an affair with his boss's wife, taken illegal drugs, had several affairs, was arrested several times for public indecency. I was appalled that one person could do so many awful things. But as the days went on, I learned that my people were not all like that. And I had indeed come to a fine parish full of good people. Just as the priest finished his talk, the politician arrived, full of apologies for being late. He immediately began to make a presentation and gave his talk. He said, "I'll never forget the first day our parish priest arrived. In fact, I had the honor of being the first person to give the confession." Never be late. Quotes for today: if you can't beat fear, do it scared. And time is precious, waste it wisely. It's something I can relate to very well. Getting old is a fascinating thing. The older you get, the older you want to get. Today's times, if you've ever drunk Kool-Aid, that's $1. If you've ever built sandcastles, that's $1. If you ever climbed a tree and fell out of it like I did, that's $1. If you ever rode a motorcycle, that's $1. I didn't see anybody come in late, so let's do that. And if you're not wearing a rotary pin, that's $1. David, happy place.
Thank you, sir. Happy bucks. Who's got to have Eric?
I have a happy buck. I went to Dayton International Airport on, must have been Friday, and picked up Henry from coming in from Germany. He was on time and had his luggage. So that's a happy buck.
All right.
And he's out today with his post bunch. He took the day off so she can show him the sights of Beavercreek.
It's gonna take all day. When? Other happy bucks. Jerry.
Yeah, Dave, Monday, Alyssa, my daughter and I presented the first two Carol Pfeiffer Memorial Scholarships, $1,000 apiece. One went to a junior from Miami that's, from Dayton. The other one is a junior, also in Miami from, Chesterland, Ohio. Both in early childhood education and, a couple really nice ladies.
It's awesome. That's great. Other happy bucks. Pete?
I have a prayer. This morning, my father had a little. And so I would just ask that everybody say a little prayer for him. He and his wife live in northern Michigan, in the hospital. He's gonna have a heart catheter done, but just found out a couple hours ago, and I figured I could seek some fellowship with my Rotarians and they could pray for him, so I appreciate it.
Any happy bucks? Randy?
Okay. And brought my two daughters today. They both are Irish dancers, Children's Academy of Irish Dance. Eva is coming up through the ranks, but Miranda has gotten up pretty high. As a matter of fact, we went to nationals. I'm going to embarrass them. But nationals this year down in Nashville. Her Keeley team, which is the four girls that dance together, got 5th place in the nation.
Both girls have kept an eye on one of our QSAC girls over the years at St. Luke's, so we appreciate that.
Tuesday, I had the opportunity to do not one, but 2 Eagle Border reviews, which was pretty awesome. And not only that, both of their fathers are part of this club. Pete and Shannon's boys, Jack and Isaac, both got their rank at Eagle on Tuesday.
David?
Randy, you want me to start playing that music now?
That'll be $2, David. Other happy bucks. Seeing none, I am going to do the ticket drawing. 943769. Remember, half the proceeds go to our Christmas project. All right, Eva.
Is she allowed to?
Of course.
Yeah, that's right. So you're looking for the Queen of Hearts. Pick one card. That's got to be Queen of Hearts. Not the first year.
All right. Well, thank you. All right, with the pot grows. Do we have any announcements? Sandy?
Corresponding with Stephen Brown this morning, and I asked him if it was okay if I shared this with all of you, and he said absolutely. I've been taking care of my dad as he's been in the ICU since Saturday. A van pulled out in front of him and my mom while they were on a motorcycle. They're both feeling up well, but I'm bouncing around everywhere and so he's asking for prayers. Yeah.
All right, any other announcements? I have one announcement. We have a board meeting after meeting here today, and anybody's welcome to join. It will be pretty efficient and brief. Ask Pete Bales to come forward and introduce our speaker.
I am happy to introduce Sheriff Enger today. Sheriff really leads our county with such integrity and is just such a fine gentleman to speak with and leads from the heart and has just a great vision. And so I'm happy to call him my friend, and I'd like to read you his bio. All right, he's been the elected sheriff since November of 2021. He is in his 39th year of law enforcement. He started his career as an Ohio State Patrol dispatcher in 1985 and a 30-year stint with the Xenia Police Division. Scott also served as an enlisted member of the Army National Guard from 81 to 1987. And his assignments while in Xenia included a patrol officer, SWAT team member, DARE officer, field training officer, evidence technician, patrol sergeant, and many, many other things. He was also appointed the director of the ACE task force, which deals with our drug issues in the county. And he holds a bachelor's degree from Capital University with a concentration on criminal justice, and is a graduate of Northwestern University School of Police Staff and Command and the FBI National Academy. He works closely with the Mental Health and Recovery Board of Clark Green and Madison County and the Crisis Intervention Team since 2006. He is married to his wife Lori for 36 years, and they have 2 adult children. Please welcome Sheriff Scott Anger. Does the clicker work?
Apparently David will.
Yeah, they about now.
I'm not used to seeing David sitting out there. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here today. I know that it's time constrained. I know things have to end at 1 o'clock. So as we go through, I'd just love it if anybody would ask questions about what we're talking about. I'm going to start out briefly just talking about the sheriff's office in general. And then I'm going to talk about how we kind of got to the point of building a new jail and some of the different things we went through in the process to get where we're at now. And then spend the last part talking about the good news that we have going forward. And so, again, it's an honor and privilege to be here today. I know most of the people in the room. For those of you that I don't know, please, I'll stay by afterwards. I'd love to talk to you. Just like to talk a little bit about the sheriff's office. Not seeing this kind of clicker before. There we go. There's our core values of the Greene County Sheriff's Office: integrity, equality, courage, accountability, and partnerships. That's something that we try to meet every day. I like to talk a little bit about, some people don't know the sheriff's office and how it interacts with the other incorporated areas of the county, but we have a total of 169 employees. We have approximately 50 people assigned to patrol, and we have 74 people that are corrections officers full-time, plus our civilian staffs. I have 21 special deputies that are fully equipped to be able to go out and do whatever we need them to do. And I can tell you, since I've become sheriff, I've had more and more good people knocking at the door that want to do and help with our agency. Go backwards. I've never used a clicker like this, so sorry. I went forward 1 and backwards, sorry. I only have a few slides and I won't be worried about the slides after that.
Next one, you got it for you.
Yeah, keep on going. Yeah, I just want to show people, we cover 421 square miles in Greene County total. We do have arrest powers in all the 421 square miles in the county. We work really well with all the departments in the county. And we have 12 total townships that we serve. Beavercreek Township's well represented today. We have a great relationship with them, where we have 6 full-time officers that are deputies that are actually just assigned to that township. This is the districts we have in the county. As far as if we were to be lucky enough to have 7 deputies out at the same time, these would be how our districts would be divided up. So as you can see, our deputies work in a very diverse range of Greene County. One of our deputies could be at a trailer park at a domestic violence call 1 minute, and then they could be in Beavercreek Township at $1 million home the next minute. So literally, our deputies are all over the county and they're dealing with all the diverse populations that we have. We've been nationally accredited since 1993. We serve the population of 169,000 people. And Greene County, a lot of people, I tell this whenever we do any kind of presentation, and I write it in my grants a lot. We're the 18th largest county in the state. A lot of people don't really realize that, but at 169,000 population, we're the 18th largest county in the state. Our patrol deputies are signed body worn cameras. So again, we're way up to speed with all the progressive things. What we didn't have to this point was our only Achilles heels was facilities, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Okay. I like to just touch on, because when we watch the news these days, you would think you can't go up to the 7-Eleven or Circle K without the police shooting at you, right? That's what you see. I just want you to know how many people that we interacted with on calls last year, 67,445. We had a total of 30 uses of force. None of those were serious injuries or deaths or anything like that. Go ahead, please. And that stayed pretty consistent over the last several years. Again, if you look up here, you can see that we discharged the taser 1 time. We displayed it 8 times. Anytime we use any type of force, we have to do a report on it. So anytime we display our handgun or anything like that, it's very well documented. So I just like people to know that what kind of agency that we are and what kind of agency that we continue to want to be as we go forward. CCW, we could do a whole half hour just on CCW, but at Xenia or Greene County back during COVID, we were the highest or the 3rd highest group at issuing CCW permits in the state. And that's mainly because we stayed open. That has went way down because of the new constitutional carry law. Again, as a sheriff, I always still tell people that it's a good idea to get your CCW mainly because you get 8 hours of training and you get reciprocity in 36 other states. So, thank you. Okay, now we're getting into the jail a little bit. And this is some of the average daily populations of our jail, just to kind of give you a background. 2018, average daily was 321, 2019, 316. And as you can see at COVID, we went down to 219. And the judges and prosecutors in the room will know lots of the reasons why our population has even remained down after COVID. So we're more at the 220 to 204 area currently. And this is just a way that I've kind of broken this down to show the types of people that are in the jail. A lot of people think that we have a lot of misdemeanor individuals in the jail, and that's just not true. Hardly any misdemeanor people in the jail. I can hardly have anybody that's a trustee do our cars, do anything outside the jail, because most people that are in the jail these days really need to be in jail, in my opinion. Okay, and then this is just the average population by gender. One of the real Achilles heels we have is every female in jail is in our downtown facility. So in the last 20 years, we had a big increase in the amount of females that were incarcerated. We had to reconfigure everything. So literally our adult detention center, which some of you may know about, that's out on Greenway Boulevard, it's more of a minimum security. We have a lot of male subjects out there that shouldn't be out there. They should be in a more secure area, but because of our issues, we can't do that. And this is just, we had a consent decree since 1989. Judge Rice, who's still a judge, still says that he will be at our ribbon cutting. He would love to be there. So he's going to be there if the Lord's willing. But we haven't had to release so many people about overcrowded here lately. Yes.
Are you able to break that down between people who are in on felonies versus misdemeanors who have the emergency release?
I am, but I don't have that slide. I am able to do that.
Was it overwhelmingly misdemeanors?
On the overcrowding, yes. The biggest problem we had 10 years ago, and it was really frustrating for all of us, is we'd go to Cincinnati to pick somebody up on a first-degree misdemeanor warrant. And before we got the paperwork done, they were being released back into the city of Xenia and the population without a ride anywhere, and they were just, ripe to commit another crime, to be quite honest. But yeah, that's been better. Yes, thank you. Yeah, we could just, the other thing people wonder, when we did we went through the 2 levies with the jail, a lot of the only people that really were upset is they thought we had too many beds. We were shooting for 500 beds. And through the process, we kind of cut that number down to what we ended up with now. But that last slide was really just to show you, people say, if you only have 204 people in jail, why do you need a 500 bed facility? Well, a couple reasons, because we want this to be a 50-year facility. And another reason is any given day, we got 2,500 outstanding warrants amongst all of our agencies, any given day. So if the task force goes out and does a roundup, or we have any kind of situation like that, we can immediately have 30 people go to jail at any time. So that's kind of an issue that we address. And if you just tap in, that should run through some slides. Hopefully. This just is to show you our jail, just some of the different things of how we got to why we need a new jail, because we did 2 levies, and one of them was during COVID and one of them was after, and both levies failed. But I don't think that the people that knew what our need was and knew it was a sales tax, I think they were on board. But a lot of people, when they hear tax, they just, they say, well, the prisoners don't need anything new. Well, I'll tell you, our deputies and our corrections officers need a safe place to do their job. And that's one of the main things that we want to do is we want to have a place that's efficient and safe for our corrections officers and safe for our inmates, all 3. So this just kind of shows you the state of our downtown jail, what we're working in. We have corrections officers that go to work here every day. And it's really, like I say, when you see it, it's really, and our grand juries go through and see it before every new grand jury. We get a lot of feedback from them. That didn't used to be a mandate, but it is a mandate under Senate Bill 288 that the grand jury goes in and looks at our jail. And of course, the feedback is probably what you can guess. I'll just keep on going. Within 20 years of the 1969 facility being built, we were under the consent decree for the overcrowding and the conditions. The current downtown jail is crumbling. It's crumbling to the ground. We can't even get police cars into the Sally Port because it's unsafe. We need to address officer safety. We have mental health and detox issues that we didn't have 20 years ago. And we have no ability within our jail to handle those things. We have extreme liabilities that are caused by these conditions. And again, we've had the history of passing the sales tax twice and it failed. But now as we move forward here, I'm happy to say, and some people still ask even today, is when is that coming up for another levy? Well, I'm happy to tell you that it's not coming up for another levy because our commissioners, 2 of which are in the room, Nick Gould and Rick Morales, and Mr. Kugler, we've all got together as a team and they made this a priority for our county. About a year ago, we really got into this hard working on it, and they realized that this was the #1 priority for our county as far as infrastructure. And it's not a resort that we're going to build. It's nothing, it's a lot of concrete, it's very expensive, but there's no amenities to it. Both of the swimming pools and the 3 hot tubs that I had in there have all been cut out. So we don't have to worry about those now, but I can't say enough about, since I've been working with the commissioners and the team, Brandon Huddleston, Lisa Hale, they've all just worked daily to a common good. And we realized that our limitations, and we went through 7 different iterations of what we could afford to get to where we were. So the slides, the slides here kind of say it all about where we were. So we're not going to be doing another levy. The commissioners, and you can jump in anytime, they have come up with a plan to, before the interest rates went up, to get bonds that we could use for this. They converted some money from ARPA. There's a lot of different things. And then here recently, we received a $15 million grant from the state that we applied for the second time. So lots of different things went into the funding, but I'm happy to say we're at the point where we have a budget and we're funded, and we have a great architect, and we have a great builder. Actually 2 builders, Danis and Granger. So
How are the people that are being housed now, how are they divided between the downtown jail and then the facility out in near the juvenile court?
right, because the way we're set up, all the female inmates have to be downtown. And so whatever's left there, we have a total of 63 maximum security places. And again, during COVID, we had no ability to separate people medically or anything like that. So again, I can't say enough about our corrections people. They're heroes working in those conditions every single day, doing what they do. And they're, during COVID, it's just remarkable that we were able to get through it. Part of that's because we have a very good medical director that worked well with us, and we didn't get too extreme on anything, but yes, so it's really, it's split with, right. Some days it's about 100 at each place. But again, they have to decide based on if somebody needs to be in segregated because they're suicidal, or somebody is in drug detox. The nice part about our new jail is we'll have the proper spaces to do programming inside the jail, to have mental health treatment inside the jail, and to really do what we need to do. So any other questions before I go on? Because I'm just kind of going off the slides and then just some notes, but some of the other things that people ask sometimes is it costs us $5.38 a day per inmate for food. It's $1.79 per meal. Current average daily population is 207. Our annual cost for food is $406,485.90. Average daily population is males 155, females 52. So that's in this month, that's kind of the breakdown.
With regard to expenses, so everybody going to be a drive into court and so forth, right? Does that change the expense structure and the staff?
Yeah, and I think going forward, we're really going to see clear what that's going to do. But and the judges have all made it really clear that we really needed to have a better way to video arraign people. And we're going to be able to do 4 of those at one time instead of what we're currently doing. It doesn't take up a lot of space, but when we get the new facility built, we're going to be able to do 4 of those arraignments at the same time. Talk about hard on the corrections officer is when they got 3 or 4 judges saying, I was next, and I was next. So most of the judges are great about it, but it just, it puts the corrections guys in a tough position, so.
Hey Scott, when's the ribbon cutting?
Well, that's a good question.
What did the architect say?
Well, our latest meeting in the architect says that possibly moving dirt in late October. So the good news, bad news is we were going to break ground July 10th for the jail. That was just for the jail. But when we got the $15 million grant from the governor's office and the state, we're now able to build our facilities out there with the admin, the patrol, the criminal investigations, and the coroner's office is still going to be with us out there. So we had to go back to the drawing board a little bit, even though we backed us up 4 months or so. We want to make sure we do it right and do it for 50 years. And so we're back on that. And so
2 years for construction.
yes, so we're hoping by late summer or fall of 2025 to be in there. That's our hope. Yes, sir.
Does the jail have its own kitchen or are those meals brought in from some place?
That's a very good question. We have our own kitchen, and that's a part that I was wanting everyone to know about the jail. When I show some different views of the new jail. Our current facility out there, the Adult Detention Center, has a kitchen, and they're gonna repurpose that kitchen. We're gonna use that part of the building still for our new part of the jail. So, Aramark is the company that currently brings in our food, but they do some cooking there too, so in the kitchen. But Aramark is the company that we work with. And yeah, so this was iteration number 1. Basically, we were gonna put all these little snowflakes here. Those were 132 beds. And then we were gonna put the sheriff's office admin out front here. That was when, if we got the tax money and did that. Well, immediately with all the inflation that's happened in the last several years, that iteration was gonna be $100 million. Warren County built something about 6 years ago that we've kind of modeled it after, and that was in the upper 50. So you can see how much things have went up. So waiting is not going to be good. Iteration 1 had 384 beds, all new construction. And then our current administration patrol buildings would have been, we live in now, which is a 1929 car dealership. That was going to be on hold. But this is what we came up with next. So iteration 7, until when it was going to be July, this was iteration 7. So iteration 7 was having the jail administration. This is still the ABC. So there's a lot of beds still here at the ABC. 250 new beds. So we'll have 250 new, the right kind of beds. We're going to have this area here, which I think for law enforcement is going to be great. Because you're going to have this Sally Court bookend area that you can park 4 cars in. You can put 2 buses in there if you need to. You can put all your SWAT gear, all your riot gear right here in a little closet. You can pull right up to it and go if you have to. But you're going to have everything down that hallway, or when an officer comes to book someone in, they don't have to go into the secure part of the jail. They can go ahead and take care of their scanning. Maybe if they have to do a blood alcohol breath machine, that'll be there. All the things that to shower people, decontaminate people, all that'll be on this wing coming in. So that was iteration 7. That was prior to the grant. So that doesn't show anything with the sheriff's office at all. Yes.
What will be the split between female and male beds?
They're going to be able to flip. So basically those wings, those 2 pods, we can repurpose a group of those. They can flip. So they're not going to be designated male and female necessarily. We'll have little wings that we give. If the balance gets a different way, we can change it up. So it won't be designated that way initially, but we'll be able to like take a different area. And we're going to have different areas for maximum security for people that are really having some problems. They have to be in some extra security. But what we've modeled this after is Warren County, and Fairfield County went before Warren County. So Warren County got all the things that Fairfield County wished they'd done. And we've kind of tried to do everything that Warren County wished they would done. And just take these architects and take it further and further. So having our architect and the builder that we have, I think has been a huge thing for us to be able to, when we got this extra $15 million, they were able to turn on the dime and get us going in the right direction. So, but yeah, we'll just have so much more versatility in there about what beds are for who. Yep. Yeah, and the way we will have it now is we'll be able to If you go ahead and go forward there, we'll be able to go put an extra 132 beds on. So we're going to have 482 beds, counting the adult detention center. And what we can do with those beds over there, some for minimum security, what we're hoping to do is use that for additional programming and overflow. So if our census stays where it's at, we'll have all that over there to start working with some programming that we can get in there, and we'll also have an overflow. But we'll also have the ability, the architect's building 132 beds and the drawings at any time that would ever have to be done in the future. So that's a good too. This is just a kind of a sketch showing that we've now added on our patrol area, and this here is going to be a huge community room, and it's going to be tornado shelter because it has to be. So we'll have a huge community room here that will be able to be used by the community, by us for training, things like that. We'll have a weight room. We'll have locker rooms that actually are the size lockers that our people need to do their job. Currently, we have an upstairs roll call room that has lockers that are about 8 inches wide. These guys need lockers like NFL players because they have more gear than NFL players. So we built all that in. Let's see, I think we've right-sized it and we've allowed some room for growth. You know, we didn't build it just to where we're at right now. And everybody knows that the eastern part of the county, probably well after I'm retired, is going to be really popping up. This county is going to continue to grow. So we have to make sure that we allow for some room in there to grow, but nothing overly done. Anybody have any questions so far? This just kind of shows the drawing, shows this extra area that's going to be there in case we need it. But right now we're going to have 482 beds, counting the overflow and everything. So I think we're going to be pretty versatile for any time in the near future. We're going to be building an adequate place for our patrol people.
I'm sorry, I might have said it, but I'm just not familiar enough. But where is this going to be built at?
Okay, good question. It's going to be built out. You know where the juvenile court building is? You know where our current ADC is? You know where the Social Security office is in Xenia? That road that goes right by the Social Security office in Xenia, Green Bay Boulevard. That if you go back there, you'll see the recyclable center, and you'll see the adult detention center. Right in between there, there's 9 acres, and that's where we're going to put the jail. That's going to be combined with the current facility out there. Yes, sir.
My CCW license expired about 1.5 years ago. Should I have renewed that?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is an opinion. I'll say this because I guess I'm a politician now. I am a Second Amendment person. I support guns. I like my wife to have one, my kids to have one. I'm big on guns, but I believe that it's a good thing to have your CCW license. The reason I believe that is if you, in fact, you never had any training, you never were in the military, or your dad didn't take you out shooting when you were younger or whatever. I think that baseline 8 hours training is great.
Well, it was just a renewal.
Right, but the renewal question is just, I would say, for the 36 states that you can also have reciprocity. So for the amount of money and the peace of mind, I think for me, I'm just giving you my opinion.
Just go back to the sheriff's office and have it renewed?
Yes, sir. Yep. And one of the things before I get too far and I don't mention it is I wanted to talk about our app. We have an app that's called Greene County, Ohio Sheriff's Office. And anything you need to know about just about any public agency in our county, including CCW, sheriff sales, a whole bunch of things that people would normally call dispatch to ask them about, you can find on our app. Stephanie from the engineer's office, she does a great job of putting roads that have been closed, different things like that. Any other agency that wants to use our app to add on to things, we put weather reports out. But it's a really good app. But if you would have that app, you can just go right to that app. You can set up an appointment. It's a 10-minute appointment and you'll be in and out. Let's see, what are some of the other common questions? This one.
How do you handle, you've got male and female
accommodations. How do you handle this transgender kind of?
Well, I'm gonna be on real, I guess, go back to being a politician again. I'm going to say that I'm really happy that the Attorney General came out with some guidance. But I know the city of Xenia has had issues with the YMCA. And I'm hoping that the state legislature kind of helps us with that kind of thing in the near future. But currently, right now, it's the way it's always been. So if you have male parts, you're in the male part, you have female parts, you're in the female part, and that's the way it is currently now. That's a great question. I mean, it's a great question. But I know that's how me and my other people that run jails currently are doing it in the state of Ohio.
Sheriff, how many counties in the state does the wife of the sheriff still cook meals?
That does not happen.
Historically, that the jail, the maid
Yes.
was the wife of the sheriff, and she cooked the meals for everybody in
Yes.
jail.
We're quite a bit bigger than that now. Yeah, every once in a while she cooks some for me, but that's about it. But yeah, it's quite a bit bigger than that now.
Here.
Yes, sir.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you for the partnership between your office and my city. For the folks like Sergeant Castle, it makes it go away to us. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And again, I feel like that's one of the biggest parts of my job in 39 years. I feel like I've developed good relationships and I try to maintain good relationships. Working out the task force was great to get even more outside relationships with the FBI, the ATF, the Secret Service. I'm happy to say that our county, even way back when I was a state patrol dispatcher, it's unusual how well our county law enforcement gets along. And I tell people this all the time. I think I said it yesterday when I was doing a presentation with David. I am so lucky to work in a county like Greene County, because it wouldn't make any difference how good our people were if we didn't have a good prosecutor, we didn't have good judges. I tell people a story all the time. When I went to the FBI Academy, I went to the academy with a black female that was she was so much above what we were doing the whole time. She was our class president. A few years ago, she got named to be New York City Police Commissioner. Keyshawn was her first name. She recently resigned, I think, about a month ago. But I always thought, like, what would it be like to be her? She was a superstar, but she has a mayor. The mayor may not be in line with what she wants to get done. She has prosecutors that you could make a case that are not doing anything the way you want them to do, and even judges. So working in Greene County and living in Greene County, the quality of life in Greene County is great. And, it's because we have such a good group of people all the way through the criminal justice system. Yes, sir.
You talked about the CCW renewal. Do you teach CCW classes or do you have to get those from a private supplier?
Now, we have several people that are police officers that do that. And I'll tell you, there's people that do that class better than others. Some people do the bare minimum, but most of the people that we know that are police officers that do it, they do a phenomenal job. Now, my wife got her CCW 7 years ago, and she left that class and she goes, I think everybody should go through that. And mainly what she said was they talk about what to do when you get stopped by the police. She says, everybody should hear that, you know, and, but yeah, we have some references we can help you out with. I'm sure there's people in here that would help you out with, to do that, but my wife's wanting to do it again, even though she doesn't have to. Because she's had her license for 7 years, but she's really not done anything with a gun. So she wants to do it again.
Scott, I know we reduced the requirements in General Assembly for CCW training. What's the minimum? What do they have in the training now?
Well, and I'm
4 hours?
No, constitutional carry that went into effect. Actually, there's zero training. I mean, they basically.
So it's just an administrative thing now.
You don't have to have it. To do your basic, the CCH, the way we always did it, is still 8 hours. It's 4 hours classroom and 4 hours range time. But as far as if you want to carry a gun.
Whichever one should do. Even though they don't have.
That's my opinion.
I
Yes.
agree.
And, you know, as an agency, we want to be the ones that do help people with training and education because we know that everybody's getting that now.
Want me to rescue you, Scott?
No, I'm good. I love questions. That's my favorite.
I know your wife's dealing with grandbaby, not wanting to cook for inmates.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Scott. We appreciate it. Okay, so we, as is our custom in honor of our speaker, we are donating a book to the Beavercreek branch of the Greene County Public Library System. With schools going back in session, it's the Queen of Kindergarten. Okay. Judge Capelli and Jim Rudd will be our greeters next week. You still here? No, okay. Please keep an eye on upcoming programs, beavercreekrotary.com and Facebook. Anybody else have anything for the good of the club? Okay, everybody would stand for Pledge of Allegiance, please. Scott, would you lead us, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, have a great meeting. We're gonna have some board meetings. Yeah.